Welcome back to Sports Dump, Lewis County's only sports podcast, sponsored by Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery, Global Septic, and AmeriCool Heating and Cooling. I'm Aaron Van Tile, joined tonight by Chronicle sports editor Alec Dietz and Chronicle sports reporter Josh Kirschenbaum. It's Tuesday, January 24th, and what percentage of Toledo's track is actually track? Lewis County decides on this podcast. A little context, the Toledo School District is seeking voter approval for a tax levy to fund a $3.1 million stadium upgrade/renovation project. The vote is coming February 14th. That's Valentine's Day. So hopefully there are no broken hearts in Toledo.
Good one.
Yeah. The C2BL track coaches penned an open letter to the Toledo School District on Monday. I'll read the letter here. Since 2001, our track teams have refused to compete on the dirt ring around the football field. That's a mean way to describe a track, because it is not truly a track. All other teams in our area have all-weather rubberized tracks, which have been standard equipment since the early 1980s. Your current facility puts our athletes at too high of risk for injury. With Toledo unable to host meets, this also puts an unfair strain on other schools, creating an unequal workload on other schools hosting meets. Toledo's track and field program is top-notch. The Toledo track staff is always more than willing to help in our meets and could host their own home meets if they had a facility. The current situation of sandy can restrooms and substandard concessions also creates a huge inconvenience for our fans, especially the elderly and less mobile. Are there a lot of elderly fans at track meets?
Like grandparents.
Probably.
Okay.
There would be more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weatherization at the stadium would allow all fans to stay dry and out of the wind as well.
That is true.
Yeah.
I remember
agree.
I went there last year and it was pouring rain and there was literally nowhere to go to get out of the rain. We had to go under the bleachers, and even then you were still going to get wet.
The roof there doesn't really do cover.
Oh, man, it was bad. It was just dumping rain. Yeah, not fun.
Let's see. Toledo has always been a first-class operation. It's a shame that the outdoor facilities are so poor. Please support this levy and bring Toledo up to the current times for the benefit of all schools in our league. How do you guys feel?
Yeah, I mean, they're right. Yeah. The other so last year during last track season, Ryan Pierboom at the Daily News he talked to Don Chaplow, their track coach. He wrote actually a really good article as they were kind of like starting the push again for these upgrades, because they started back in February, March of 2020. And then, so the pandemic kind of like put a stop in that. And now they're kind of pushing it back. But one thing that was noted was that in March of 2020, the estimate for replacing the track would have been $450,000. By this time last year, it had doubled. And one of the things they're talking about here is that with inflation, it's only going to go up.
Yeah.
And the longer you wait, the harder it is to do. And yeah, I mean, they're right. Toledo's got an incredible track program. Like, this isn't a case of an athletic department, like, just not prioritizing a sport that it doesn't do particularly well in or it doesn't have that much interest in. One of the numbers that struck me from Ryan's article last year was that Toledo has somewhere around like 250 kids between 7th and 12th grade, and they had 65 of them in the track program last year. So that's
a lot of kids.
That's over a fifth of your school.
Yeah.
Is on a team that competes on a track that can't be competed on.
Counterpoint, do you think practicing on the dirt ring around the football field makes them tougher and better at track?
Well, considering they don't practice on that
Yeah,
track.
they don't. They practice on Winlock.
Yeah.
Because the thing that you might notice is in Washington, we have this thing called rain. And
sometimes
it has this bad habit of turning a ring of dirt in with stone surrounding it into a moat.
Mm-hmm.
And
so it's like a steeplechase situation.
Or a swim meet, depending on how much it rains. Like, it's not even the fact that it's a dirt track. It's a not particularly well-kept dirt track, mostly because you can't keep a dirt track that well. Yeah. Like, it's not even. There's holes and ruts everywhere that then get filled up with water for most of the year. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, not to preach to anybody, but they could use a new track.
They really could.
My only question is, they've got 2001 marked in here as since 2001, our teams have refused to compete on the dirt ring around the football field. I would like to know when when Toledo became the only school in the league without a track. Like how long
That'd be
ago?
a question for you more than us. But
Yeah, like I can't remember off the top of my head or anything,
Yeah.
but I know that like in the early 2000s, I don't feel like a rubberized, like one of these fancy tracks.
All weather tracks.
Yeah, like I don't feel like that was. I don't think everybody had one back then. I know like Willapa Valley still doesn't have a real track, do they?
No idea.
Never
I
been
thought
out
they
there.
just had like gravel around old Krogstad Field.
I don't know.
Gritty out there.
They might only compete over at Raymond if that's the case, because Raymond's got that nice new turf with the rubberized track.
Raymond and South Bend has
South
had
Bend's got a new
nice
one.
one.
Oh,
for
sorry,
quite a
it's
while,
South Bend,
too.
not
South
Raymond.
Bend, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, February 14th will be the big vote.
Well, I mean,
and-
it's the continuation of the discussion. I feel like everyone here has. It's just levies. It's
Constant levies.
Do we
Napa
wa-
Vine just passed. Or I don't know if it was a
Napa
levy.
Vines was a bond. Bonds are
Yeah.
typically for construction projects,
Yeah,
and
that's
levies
right.
are just like replacement things. But
And
I
I
think
think
at this
they're
lower
getting an
dollar
ox
amount,
gym.
yeah.
Napa Vine is
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Well, in Toledo, just I think I saw in the
Usually you
old
put
article.
ox in barns.
In the old
You
article,
call it an ox gym.
yeah.
It's just nothing. Never
No,
mind.
we're not. I'm trying to.
I caught it,
I'm trying to go
but-
forward here.
No reaction.
I think the last Toledo building project at Ted Hippie Field was a bond, and this one's a levy. The other thing is Toledo, outside of Kalama, they just renovated their school. Like they are obviously they're willing to make those improvement projects, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
I got to one of the last times I went there for basketball, and I like walked around campus, and the campus is great. It's like super new, super up to date. Their gym is really nice. Like that whole building pretty much got replaced over COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this is kind of like the last piece, maybe the baseball field after that. But
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you can ever stop with school improvements. That there's always going to be something.
Yeah, they're in a current state of, needing something. But yeah, I'll get Toledo a track. It'll be good for them.
Yeah.
One thing I took issue with is the current situation of Sandy Can restrooms. Mm-hmm. You say that like it's a bad thing, C2BL track coaches. Our friends at Global Septic strongly disagree. Global Septic provides septic service and portable sanitation for Thurston, Lewis, Mason, Cowlitz, and Grays Harbor counties, septic pumping inspection and riser installation, commercial septic pumping, grease trap services, and of course, they will rent you the most beautiful porta potties. If you can't pass a levy to build a new track and renovate your football things and whatnot and build bathrooms, just call Global Septic. They'll hook you up.
do they do portable concession stands also?
I mean, you could just, I'm sure they got like a broke down old porta potty. You just cut a hole in the in the wall.
Put it on its
Serve 'em-
side.
Yeah. Visit Global Septic, GOEBEL septic.com, or give them a call, 360-736-2167. And we're now back on the C2BL Boys Basketball Podcast. Time to start talking about districts.
talking about districts.
Yeah, time to start talking about districts. Are you guys creating an in the hunt graphic?
I'm creating an end game thing because we have to figure out where we are in comparison to the end game now.
Oh, that's a good point.
Is it time to start talking about
No.
districts? No, it's not. It's time to start talking about
When all the teams from District 4 have qualified, are you going to do like the Thanos graphic with the infinity gems?
You do the graphics here, you know that.
It's going to be great. I can't wait. We're
In the
11.
hunt.
God, we're only 11 days away from the first district games.
Yeah. It's horrifying.
Wow. I kept thinking we had like another month left, but here we are.
It's all right. There's
For
like
some reason, districts take a month.
Yeah, the districts.
Like,
I'm gonna save my good rant on districts for baseball because I think that's the worst. But yeah, man, they really could pack these in so much tighter.
come on. We
Stretch
shouldn't
that
be
thing
doing
out.
one district game a week. It's like, speed this up. It's a tournament. It shouldn't be happening over the course of a month.
Yeah,
They do the state tournament in 4 days. Like,
Yeah, that's a good point.
I get not wanting to put wear and tear on the bodies and stuff, but
They're high
there's
schoolers.
no reason they couldn't fit districts into a 2-week stretch, I think.
Is
At
it really?
least.
What is it, like 2.5 weeks? That's so long.
Yeah, because, state is in March, and the week before that is regionals, and then I think districts go all the way up until the week before that.
Week
So
before
it's
regional.
about 3
yeah,
weeks.
because regionals is Friday, Saturday, and districts wraps up
2B
that
districts
Saturday
start
or Monday.
the 4th and and the 18th. So 2 weeks.
Yeah,
Okay.
Still too long.
It feels like longer than 2 weeks.
they cram a lot of games in those 2 weeks too. There will be a team that plays like 6 games and makes it to state, and it'll be a big story, and then they'll be tuckered out.
It'll probably be Tootle.
Maybe.
Well, let's talk about it.
All right.
Let's talk about talking about it.
There we are.
Pretty much everyone has 3 or 4 league games left. And the question posed on this set of notes is, does anyone want to win the C2BO Boys League Championship?
Yeah, Napavine. I don't know why you ask that. They very clearly beat Mort My Pass and are in the driver's seat to win the league. So clearly they want to
Didn't
win
they lose
it.
a league game, though?
Yeah, but they have the head-to-head win.
Nobody's
with
got a
Mort My
winning
Pass.
streak more than 3 games.
Okay, Morton White Bass is currently in first. Are they in first or are they tied with
They're
Napavine?
technically in first because they've played an extra game.
But they're not in first because they have a head-to-head loss with Napavine.
Morton White Bass currently sits in first, but Napavine is in the driver's seat. God damn it, I love this. With a game in hand and a head-to-head win. Wakaigam is in third, but has games left against Tootle Lake and Morton White Pass.
And Wakakim has 3 league losses? 2?
Who'd they lose to? Napavine, Morton White Pass.
Yes.
Are either of those things true?
Yes, and yes. Just a sec. Let me pull the
They
standings
lose to anyone else?
Morton White, Wakaikam is 8-2 in league, 13-3 overall. They lost to
So they have 2.
somebody
Okay.
out of league.
Adna is holding on to fourth, but going through some stuff. They lost to Toledo on Friday in maybe an upset. I think that qualifies as an upset.
I think
That's an upset, yeah.
It's an upset.
Yeah.
It was interesting. That was a really fun game. We talked about how Toledo just at some point needed to beat somebody, like not play them close and actually beat them. And yeah, they did the thing that Toledo always did. They played them close, and then they gave up a huge run in the second quarter and actually had it in them to come all the way back. And Adna kind of forgot how to play offense for the entire fourth quarter.
You don't like that. The top 7 teams go to districts, and the top 2 teams get buys. Right now, it looks like Napavine and Morton White Pass with the buys. Wakaigam, Adna, Tootle, Rainier, and Toledo are in. Onalaska needs a couple huge upsets to make a move, and Winlock and Kalama are out. That being said, let's talk about some awards for the C2BL boys. I want to hear your guys' picks on league MVP and try to guess the all-league first team.
Okay.
MVP at this point, is gross, right?
I
This
think
point
it's
is
going to be
probably
gross.
gross.
I do think, I don't know if this is a hot take. I think Josh Salguero is the best player in the league by far. I don't think anyone game plans more for a single player than other teams do for Salguero. I think I do. Obviously, I think James Gross teams circle him and be like, "Hey, let's not let this guy score 40 points." But the way everyone plays Josh Salguero, I think he would be my pick. But I think Gross is going to win because he has the game winner he hit against Morton White Pass to win that game. That's a signature moment. He broke the single game scoring record for Napavine. He's on pace to break the all-time scoring record at Napavine. He's averaging 30 points a game this year. They're probably going to win the league. Lots of times, best player on the best team gets league MVP, so I think that's who the league coaches will decide.
And I believe the note was he needs 44 tonight against Winlock to get the single season scoring record.
Yeah, he could also get it later.
Over the course of the next 10 games.
Yeah,
I mean,
he doesn't need it all tonight.
You also throw Zach Swanson in the discussion.
Sure.
He is another guy. I know every coach changes their defense up pretty much entirely to face him.
Right. Yeah.
He just broke the Tootle all-time scoring record.
I definitely put him in that tier as well.
When do they give those awards out? Is it after the end of the season or after the end of the regular season?
They vote on them at the league meeting right after the end of the regular season, but sometimes they don't release them until later.
Until after districts.
Yeah,
I think it's when we got it last year.
I think really this is a year where there's no clear guy, and I think it'll kind of end up being the best player on the hottest team at the end,
Yeah.
for better or for worse.
I think Gross is pretty much a lock if Napavine wins the league. He's averaging 30 a game. And again, a lot of the time it goes to the best player on the best. Like, I don't think Swanson has a chance just because they're not going to win the league and they're not going to come close to winning the league.
I mean, there is precedent for it going to not the best player on the best team if who won it last year?
Essery.
Essery.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But he was also clearly the best player in the league.
The year before that, Jake Lights won it.
It's also tough to unseat an incumbent. If somebody wins it as a junior on the best team and then they come back the next year and have similar numbers, and that's a lot of time they'll get it.
That's what happened. I think in 2020 it was Essery and Jake Lights from Wahkiakum split it.
Yeah. Pick your starting. You got did they go MVP and then top 5 for all league first team? So saying let's put Salguero / Gross as the MVP / number 1 spot. Fill out the next 4. Swanson.
Probably Brody Avalon.
He scored a lot of points. Yeah, that's fair. And
I've seen
maybe Salmi.
Yeah, I've talked to coaches. It really, I mean, Wahkiakum is not just Brody Avalon. Especially the thing that has come up this year. The reason that they're good this year is Zach Carlson's become a real number 2 who can shade into the number 1 if Avalon's having an off day.
Kyler Sauce is scoring over 10 a game, I think, for them. Dom Curl is filling his role nice. So,
you're still probably only getting 1, and that 1 is probably Avalon.
Probably Avalon is a good bet. I think Braden Salmi will make it. He's scoring 20 points a game. He's been their most consistent player.
If you got those ones, then I think you go another guy from Napavine or Morton White Pass. Denault, maybe? I could see Denault thrown on there. There was a former Napavine basketball star was at the game against Morton White Pass and was Twitter messaged me his takes on it, and he was really impressed with Denault.
I think he might be the best athlete on that team.
Yeah,
that's what he was saying.
He gets in some foul trouble because he's had a couple games where he scored like 1 point and played 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. I think MWP could get another one. I wouldn't be surprised if Hunter Hazen made it. Yeah. He's averaging 15 a game. Very key defender for him. I don't think Jake Kinnear's in that first team category. Yeah, now if Napavine had to have another, it'd be Denault for sure.
Okay.
Cal Stanley sitting there with 8 assists a game.
He's not getting that many anymore.
Gritty.
He's getting like 4 assists and 2 points a game. He won't make first team.
I guess the only other one is depending on if there's a run. I watched Caven Winters go off against Adna and just completely put Toledo on his back.
I'd be shocked if
I would be shocked too. But if they're a team that goes on a run and wins 2 or 3 games at districts, that could be enough.
Yeah, but they vote on it before districts.
So. Oh, yeah, then probably not.
It's a regular season award. Come on.
Yeah.
He should get recognized. I just recognized him.
He'll be second team guy.
Honorable mention maybe. I don't know.
All right. 2A Evco time. Things are still going on there on the boys' side.
Not a whole
lot less interesting.
Yeah,
but
pretty much everybody else, boys and girls, is a lot less interesting.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like we're in this point where everybody's got like 3 or 4 games left, and we're in the home stretch, and pretty much everything's figured out,
except for the Central 2B boys.
Yeah. And the things that aren't figured out are like it's going to come down to a game between 2 teams that has already happened once and was decided by like 20 points.
Yeah, that's fair. In the 2A Evco boys, Tumwater still undefeated. Black Hills a game behind them, and WF West is a game behind that. There's still a long ways to go, and Shelton and Aberdeen are tied for the Peakdale spot with Rochester a game back.
So, like, that's the thing. So, it's Tumwater, then Black Hills, then WF West.
They all have to play
each other again. So, WF West plays Black Hills Thursday?
Yeah, Wednesday. And the winner of that game is still technically alive in the league, and then Tumwater gets both of them. So, if WF West comes back and beats Black Hills, then the Tumwater Black Hills matchup, then the Tumwater WF West matchup is for the league title, and the Tumwater Black Hills matchup is suddenly way less important.
Okay.
If Black Hills beats WF West again, then that WF West Tumwater game is a lot less interesting, and you're kind of saving it for the Tumwater Black Hills game, which was decided by 20 points last time they played. So.
All right. MVP picks in the 2A Evco.
Luke Brewer.
Yeah, I mean,
Soren Dalen also very good.
I think Soren Dalen deserves it based on the numbers he's putting up. He's averaging 21, 15, and 4.
I mean, if he leads the league in scoring and rebounds, then you got to give him
He is, but I think Brewer's averaging 17, and Brewer is the best player on the best team, and he won it last year for being the best player on the best team. So if that's the precedent the coaches want in that league, then he'll get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, right now Dalen is scoring more points. Obviously, he has a lot more rebounds. And granted, he's very tall. So
Is he?
How
tall is he?
8 of those rebounds just fall into his hands, right? But he's still. I think he would be my pick on numbers, and again, how much that WFS team relies on him. But also, I think a lot of that sort of depends on what they do here down the stretch. If they kind of lay a goose egg against both Black Hills and Tumwater, then I don't know. Maybe he doesn't deserve.
Yeah,
it.
he got held quiet in both of those games.
Okay.
Quieter, but yeah.
In the 1A Evergreen, Tenino is a half game back of Eatonville and needs to win its second game against the Cruisers to keep hopes of a league title alive. But the Beavers are assured of a top 2 spot.
Are they? Really?
I think so. I'm pretty sure.
According
They
to
probably
these
have
notes, they
to
are.
beat Hoquiam tonight, probably.
Oh, possibly. It's just great after talking about, Adna or Napa Vines 10-0 in league, Morton White passes, or Napa Vines 8-1, Morton White passes 8-1 or whatever, and
Tenino was 4-1.
Tenino's 4-1. They're playing 4-0 Eatonville, who can clinch the league with a win over Tenino.
Yeah. Any MVP notes on this? Scout's got a shot.
Scow's got a shot if they
Gonya's
win
got
the
a
league.
shot the way he's been playing.
I think Scow would be the pick. He's the one that makes him go. I think Gagne is a first team all leaguer for sure, but Scow makes Tenino go all year.
Eatonville's got that.
Shea Brannon is
kid.
going to be the guy if Eatonville pulls it out. He's a guard, 6'4" ish, averaging a double. So probably one of those two guys. I think Hoquiam's got a kid named Michael Lorton Watkins.
Oh, is that where he goes? He's scoring 42 points or whatever. I saw somebody.
He's averaging 25, I think, for them, which is pretty good. I think Scow's at 24, so a lot of pretty good scores in the league. But I think it'll come down to Scow and Brannon.
All right. In the 1Bs, Mossy Rock is in second behind Willapa Valley. They won't play them again until the last game of the season. That's fun.
Yeah.
PL is in fifth. They're assured of a district spot, but they will not be looking at a bye. And way too many teams go to the 1B district tournament. How many teams go?
7
from each league.
No,
7 and 5.
7 and 5,
Seven
which
from
is
the Columbia
too many
Valley.
for 1Bs. So the setup is so bizarre. If you win the league, you get a bye into the semis.
If you get second, you get a bye into the quarters. If
Right.
you don't get a bye, you have to play. So there are 2 rounds.
Is there like a play-in round, and then it starts double elimination?
No, it's a
It only becomes
8 teams play for 2 spots, and then those 2 spots play the second place teams, and then the winners of those games play the first place teams.
That's absurd. That's too complicated.
And 4 teams move on to state, and because of the way they set it up, if you go to the semifinal, so if you win the league and lose both those games, you wouldn't make it in. There's some kind of setup that prevents it. It's bizarre.
But also,
it's too many teams.
There are 8 teams in the Columbia Valley League,
and 7 are making
and
it.
7 are making that. Right now, the State School of the Deaf, who has forfeited multiple times this year, is set to make districts. And if they get pulled out by like committee selection because they've forfeited multiple times,
Three Rivers Christian, who lost to Def by
who hasn't won
30,
a game,
would make it. So yeah, too many teams make districts.
How do we feel about Mossy Rock?
they're kind of
Right
in
now.
that weird spot, right? Because I think they're second, and they're like 3 or 4 spots ahead of 3 or 4 games ahead of whoever's third. So like this next week just doesn't matter for them.
Right. They could be playing for a league title against Valley, I think, and really what makes it intriguing is if they do indeed finish second, it would most likely set up a matchup against Oakville once districts start up in the semis,
That'd be fun.
which would be fun. Mossy Rock versus Oakville in the semis for a state bid, and then Valley probably against who's the third team? Was it Columbia Adventist or something? Because Nacelle apparently is bad.
Yeah, Columbia Ventus. It actually surprised me. They're like 8-3 actually this year.
So, and yeah, PL is sitting in fifth, so they'd have to play in the first round, and I think they would be on Valley's side of the bracket. So they would have to, right? They wouldn't be on Mossy Rock's side.
I don't remember how it lines
I'm
up.
not sure, but they would have to play all the way from the first round into the quarters, then in the semis, and all the way there. But 4 teams move on. So,
All right. Any idea on MVP picks in the 1B leagues? Either one.
Probably that Pearson kid at Valley, right?
He's pretty good.
Yeah, he's probably
Colton Fluke's good. Garrett Keaton's good. The thing about Valley, I think, is I'm not sure they have a guy that's like a guy on their team.
No, they're kind of the MWP like.
They're pretty spread out. Yeah. I think Pearson would probably be the one that got picked if they just, again, went with the best guy on the best team. Muskie kind of the same way. I think Keegan Kolb is probably their, quote, best guy, but there's some games where he scores like 4 and Matt Cooper has 20 or... so they're pretty balanced too. I think Ashton Boyd is probably going to win MVP in the Coastal League from Oakville.
It's not Clatouche.
I think Boyd's been scoring a bit more.
Remember that time Clatouche scored 50?
I do.
Good time.
Pretty sweet.
Talking about that earlier.
Remember that time Oakville scored 107?
Who could forget? This podcast is brought to you by Elam's Home Furnishings and Mattress Gallery. How you guys sitting for furniture?
Pretty good. Again, we need new furniture in here. I don't like this chair.
Yeah, you know
I
what?
want my bar card in here.
Yeah.
Also,
so
I want more whiskey because you took the last of the whiskey.
You know what I really wish we could get, and I bet Elam's Home Furnishings has one, is one of those big, enormous globes that you just tilt it back and then there's like booze hidden in it.
The one like from Inglourious Bastards?
Yeah, exactly.
See, I watched some movies.
There's a movie
there you
reference. Wow.
Shout out to our forthcoming pod. Aaron and Alec explain movies to Josh and ask what he thinks of them, and he says, "I don't care for it."
I watched a replay of some game 10 years ago.
Yeah, all the storage and shelving needs you might have: bookcases, cabinets, chests, hutches, desks, chairs, all of it. They got a great selection over at Elam's Home Furnishings. Check them out, 1530 South Gold Street in Centralia, or give them a call, 807-1211, or visit their website, elamshf.com. Let's move on to how the girls' basketball standings look. In the 2A EVCO WF West, undefeated, first place, Tumwater, 1 loss behind them. Looks pretty cut and dry. The Bearcats can clinch league with a win over Tumwater on Thursday.
Walter Meyer is back for Tumwater, which has become made it a little more interesting.
Okay.
So set to be both teams set to be at full strength, I believe. Though I don't know, Carly Deskins has been hurt for WF West past couple weeks. She went down actually in the last game against Tumwater, so I don't know what her timetable is back.
All right. Aberdeen is the only other team over 500 in league. They are in third. Shelton and Rochester are tied for the pigtail spot. Black Hills a half game back. Black Hills also still has to play WF West and Tumwater, so we'll see what happens. Rochester plays Shelton on Thursday, basically for the district spot. 2A EVCO MVP, who you got?
Julia Dalen.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you have it. Congrats, Julia Dalen.
Yeah, no, honestly, I
possibly give me pause. I mean, Reagan Brewer's been good. I have not seen Aberdeen play. I don't know how.
Maddie Gore is not at Julia Dalen's level.
Okay, I don't. Well, if it's MVP, I don't know how woeful they would be without her. That's all I'm saying. Like, I don't know whether it's
going to be
Julia
Dalen,
but it's going to be Julia Dalen.
Yeah, I think we can just award her now, to be honest.
The 1A Evergreen Montesano is running away with it. They got a bunch of Dalens too, right?
Yeah, probably one of them will also win league MVP.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to the C2BL. Napavine has already clinched a first-round bye, and Adna is one away from the other first-round bye. So they're kind of the upper tier there. Rainier and Tootle Lake are tied for third. Third place will play the Central 7, which is currently Kalama or Toledo in the district tournament, rather than crossover against a P2BL team. That's because there are 7 C2BL and 5 P2BLs, correct?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
MWP, Wahkiakum, Kalama, Toledo, and Winlock are all within 2 games of each other, with the top 3 of that quintet getting into districts. The wild card here is Toledo, which forfeited to Winlock on January 11th. The jury is still out on whether or not that game gets played.
So if that game gets played and Toledo wins, first of all, that knocks Winlock. Like, Winlock's holding on barely, and that would completely end their hopes. And it would also make things a lot better for Toledo. That matchup between the 3rd and 7th teams from the C2BL, I feel like that's a matchup that nobody wants to be in. I don't know, because the 4th best team in the 4 seed in the Central would play the
5 in the Pacific.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then who do you see in the next round? So Rainier's going to be the 3. I think they're going to be Tootle. So They already did beat Toodle, right?
Yeah, I don't know if they have to play again. I don't think they have to play again.
No. So anyway, Rainier probably likely looking at 3.
I just feel like you'd rather beat the 4 and take on that.
Sure, but what happens in the next round? Do they go on to face another Central team, or they play the Pacific 2? Because then I'd rather obviously see the Pacific 2 than Adna.
Yeah.
So if you're looking up the bracket, good luck.
Yeah, I was going to.
It is on our in the email if you have access.
It's also
if I open the email, it'll beep, and you guys will throw a fit.
It's also on the WIO website.
Is it now?
Yeah, they are.
Oh wow, look at that.
Good on the WIA, up to date.
All right, why don't you
I
guys?
think that's on the districts.
You know what? I'm not gonna.
But also that means, and in both of these leagues, both boys and girls, I think we were talking about this. Like, obviously, you want to be 7th because 7th, like the 7th-8th split is making the tournament versus not making the tournament.
Yeah.
But I feel like the 6-7 split is also huge. I feel like you would much rather be the 6th team and not in the Central and not have to play another Central team again in the first round.
Yeah, you'd much rather roll the dice against somebody from the Pacific.
Yeah.
In the 1Bs, Monster. MVP picks, C2BL girls. Napavine, Cout.
Probably Carly Von Moose still.
I still think it'll be Von Moose.
Yeah, that's fair.
Napavine's too balanced. They don't have anyone averaging more than like 12 a game. Like, I think Morgan Hamilton's probably their best, most consistent player, but I'm not sure she's MVP.
That'll be an
of the
interesting,
league.
yeah. That'll be an interesting first team too. If you do give it to Von Moose, I could still see at least 1, maybe 2 Adna players getting in, just because the rest of the league has not had a great time.
Yeah, I could see it being very Napavine,
Adna
heavy with a Rainier girl sprinkled in there.
Yeah, like Wakayakum is in free fall right now. They've lost 4 straight, and none of them have been close. Like Roya Niemeyer is probably good, but at some point the team is just doing poorly enough. You're going to have a tough time making that argument.
Yeah.
All right, in the 1Bs, Masrock still undefeated.
Yep.
Valley is a half game back. This is league play. PL's in 5th, and they are assured a district spot, but they won't get any buys. MVP, hot take, Peyton Torrey.
What's a hot?
I was kidding.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
I think that's
she'll
like,
win MVP.
like a Juliet Dalen.
Charlie Carper.
No.
They're not going to. She'll get a first team bid.
Yeah, she'll get a first team bid.
She is the most valuable player in the league.
She's not.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
gonna put that out
think
there.
in terms
She's not gonna
of
win
if
it,
you
but she
take her
is.
off the team, where does the team wind up?
Yeah.
I think
If you
PL
take
goes
Peyton
from-
Torrey off Mossy, I'm not sure they win that league, to be honest.
They might not win Week, but they're still a playoff team.
They might not win week.
Yeah, they might not win Week. You know,
I don't know. I think if a player turns you from, 3rd or 4th in the league to winning league, that makes you MVP. So I'd still say Peyton Torrey is the most valuable. And I love Charlie Carper.
Mm-hmm.
I think she should be a first teamer for sure. She's leading that league in scoring.
I bet she gets a first team nod.
Oh, 100%.
All right. This pod is also brought to you by AmeriCool Heating and Cooling.
So hot right now.
There it is.
That's
Yeah,
my
look at you.
problem.
You got it.
What should I do?
You should call 360-273-3300 for 24/7 emergency service from our friends at AmeriCool Heating and Cooling. Your comfort is their business. They offer full service HVAC installation, services, and repair with a 100% satisfaction guarantee with everything they do. If you call them and they don't make you either less hot or less cold than you want to be, they'll come back and
Try again.
butter you up. Visit west.americoolonline.com or stop by their office, 21822 Old Highway 99, Southwest in Centralia. Are we not doing no polls this week? Or is it too early? When's the poll come out?
Tomorrow.
All right. Do you guys want to take any guesses? Do you want to explain who you're going to vote for?
It's going to look mostly the same.
All right.
I think. I put Wakayakum ahead of Adna for the boys because they beat him, but I'm not going to drop Adna for the loss to Toledo just yet.
Okay.
So I don't see any other changes.
Josh,
Didn't Brewster lose? Did I see that, or was that a bit ago?
Yeah, but I still think, Brewster has a head-to-head with Napavine.
I wasn't talking about Napavine. I was talking about, them versus, I don't know, they were 1, Do they stay 1? Do they go
They
down
like
to
6.
Oh, I don't remember.
Davenport's 1.
Didn't Davenport lose?
The Burbank.
Yeah.
The Burbank's 1 now.
Okay.
Sure, I'll put Burbank at 1. I don't know.
You're attacking me, jeez.
I don't know.
I follow the Brewster Athletics account on Facebook for some reason that dates back like 10 years looking for updates or something.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever runs it will post like photos from the games and updates from like they'll put a link to the WIA's RPI board every so often. And the comments are just people complaining about it. And then the guy that runs the account is in there like, look, please, it's just numbers. It doesn't matter. Stop complaining. It's great. I love it.
It's just numbers. One of my class on their program puts in the RPI rankings.
I was looking at the.
I had their program, and it's like, oh, the rankings according to the RPI, and I was just like, why?
They update those for every game.
Yeah, because they have
awesome.
new photos of the front and stuff. I'm sure it's Fairheart.
I was going through the old district programs, and the district programs last year, the 2B just had the entire classification, like 1 through 70 or whatever it is in 2B.
Oh yeah, did you like that stash of programs?
Found a couple interesting ones. But.
Yeah. I showed Josh the closet where all the old basketball programs are kept.
There are dead bodies in there too.
I
found a sock.
Found a weird sock. Yeah,
some weird shoes, some like high top Converses, wrestling shoes.
Those are the that was part of the Swamp Man costume.
Know.
Yeah, it's part of the original Swamp Man costume. And it's not important.
No, it is not.
There's some good games coming up, according to these notes.
Well, that was condescending.
He's not wrong.
Wednesday night, Black Hills at WF West boys. The Wolves beat WF West by 16 in December, and the winner is all but assured of a top 2 league finish. And then Rainier plays at Adna boys. These are the 2 teams that need to get right fast. Which of those are you more excited about?
Probably Rainier Adna. Like
glowing reviews.
I'd be way more excited for this game if Rainier hadn't just lost to Oakville, which doesn't seem great.
Yeah.
But Adna, they did not look good finishing up against Toledo. They scored on their they were up by 9 going into the fourth quarter. They scored on their first possession to go up by 11 and then went the rest of the game on 1 free throw. So
I'm pretty intrigued by the WF West Black Hills game, only to see what Soren Dalen can kind of do against Keegan Rongan this time after, I think, going, 10-8 or something in the first game.
Yeah.
Probably going to need more from him this time. So in Chehalis, we'll see if they can get a different result, because that was kind of what stopped WF West's offense in that game big time.
Well, and it was the fact that there was no guard play for WF West to get him the ball.
And Tyler Klatouche didn't play in their Monday game, so we'll see. They definitely need his shooting in that game. So I think both those games will be interesting.
That battle down low will be interesting. I do shout out Keegan Rogan. So saw that he committed to Eastern to play football. That's cool for him.
Cool. Sure. Thursday night, Tumwater at WF West girls. WF West can clinch a league title. Rochester at Shelton girls, basically for the last 2A district spot. And Tenino at Eatonville boys. Eatonville could clinch a league title outright with a win. What stands out to you guys there?
I mean, anytime you can win a league, that's pretty cool. So
yeah, WF West girls. I mean, I think it's been since they're, not to say that it's assured, but after their first win over Tumwater, I think it's sort of been suspected that they would probably run away with it. But we'll see if Kylie Waltemeyer kind of changes things. She definitely gives something else to game plan for the T-Birds. So and
definitely the end of that first game, they started to find something that was working. So it's kind of whether they can put a full game of that together. And
WF West is only playing 5 really. So if foul trouble is a thing, it could get interesting as well.
And then, that Tenino-Eatonville game, assuming Tenino beats Hoquiam.
It was close the last time they played, too. Tenino, it was back and forth before Eatonville kind of pulled away with free throws and sloppy turnovers from Tenino. So that one's in Eatonville. And
weird things happen when you go to Eatonville.
Sure.
Maybe.
Friday night, WF West at Tumwater boys, which is a lot more interesting if WF West beats Black Hills Thursday night.
I think if WF West beats Black Hills, then this could be a clinching game for Tumwater.
Yeah. And then Mossy Rock at Adna girls on Friday.
Yeah, means nothing.
No
but
stakes.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
I think I'm the most excited for that game out of any of on the list, even though it has absolutely no bearing on the postseason.
RPI, but wait, it won't even boost RPI because different classifications. Never mind.
No, that still goes in, doesn't it?
If you play a team that isn't in the same classification as you, they count as a 500 team. Oh, wow. Yeah, the RPI sucks. We've been over this.
Oh, should we get into this now?
Tuesday.
We'll look at Evan's rankings.
A week away. Black Hills at Tumwater Boys, which again a lot more interesting if Black Hills beats WF West. And Masharock at Columbia Adventist Boys.
I have no clue what Columbia Adventist is like, but they're beating Nacelle. They're beating everything below them. I think Mossy can. Didn't Mossy beat them by like 10 last time? Like it was kind of close.
Was it? I don't know. It's been a while.
It's one of those. I mean, if Mossy wins, then they basically assure themselves that game against Valley. This is the last test before they play Valley for the league title.
Right.
So don't trip up.
Anything else you guys want to add before we get out of here?
Toledo, hopefully you get your new track. We're rooting for you here on this podcast.
Get back on track, Toledo.
Stay tuned for updates on
and puns
on the Sports Guys Talk Movies podcast coming soon.